to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. Fade to Black. Bespoke Radio. For the masses. Yeah, man. How you doing? Today's Monday, April 5th, 2021. 96 days into the new year, only 269 days left. We are live. We are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Yes, it is a total undisclosed location, but it is beautiful. I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planet. I am your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? Yeah, man. I got to tell you. Life is good. Life is nothing but good. Tonight on the show, the one and only Travis Walton. Travis is here with us tonight. And speaking with Travis over the last couple of weeks, I was like, Travis, come on the show and let's have a conversation about everything. And he was like, Jimmy, that's exactly what I want to do. That right there. I said, Travis, let's just do our thing. And let me say this. So many times over the years, how do I say this? I've had so many conversations with Travis, and I said this to him earlier this week. I said, this is the show right here. This is the show I want to do. And he said, Jimmy, this is the show I want. I said, well, let's do it. And that's what we're going to do tonight. And I did notice in social media a few things that popped up. Jimmy, you need to ask Travis this and ask him about the ship, ask him about this room, do that, I can imagine that at this point in time, there are so many out there that probably know more about the Travis Walton case than Travis or me. And it's just been done, right? There is so much more to offer when it comes to Travis. So that is what we are going to do tonight. And I am very excited about this. Now, we've got a great week lined up. Tomorrow night, director, filmmaker Darcy Weir joins us for the first time. I'm really looking forward to this. And the stuff that, the documentaries that Darcy has done over the years encapsulate everything. He's done, UFOs and secret space and Sasquatch and cryptids. So we're going to be doing all of that tomorrow night with Darcy, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation. And then Wednesday night, Johnny Enoch is back. And I've called this show Johnny's Strangeness Updates. and I talked to Johnny all week, and he's dealing with his people out there, and he's, collecting all of this information. And he's like, Jimmy, I've got this. I said, you know what? Let's just put it all in one show. Let's just do it all. So that's what we're going to do on Wednesday. And it's kind of strange. This week is going to be 3 shows with everything, and I'm looking forward to it. And then, of course, we didn't have a Fader night last week. Well, we've got it this week. So Thursday night is Fader night with open lines all night long. I hope everybody's doing great out there. We're getting the studio pretty dialed in, and we got it painted, and we've got some of the lights up. We've got tons more to do and decorating. And yes, I'm going to let everybody know. The banner goes. The banner is a placeholder. I can't wait. I'm going to get all the guitars up and some things and get stuff decorated, but it's a clean slate, and I'm really looking forward to that. So there you go. That's our week, and it's just going to be amazing. Going to be amazing. Tonight, Travis Walton. All right. Now, really quick, everybody wants their own crystal skull. I talk about it all the time, and I've got a big collection of skulls. Carolyn Ford is my source. And you need to go and visit Carolyn Ford. Get over to the website. Get over to jimmychurchradio.com. You can click on that banner right there and head over to EinsteinTheCrystalSkulls.com. She posted some stuff over the weekend. It was just amazing. And this ginormous crystal skull she posted today. Wow. Almost as big as Einstein. It's incredible. You need to go and check it out. And the promo code Jimmy will get you 10% off of your crystal skull order today. All right. Is that how good I look right there? Is that how good? Man, I've been spending too much time in the sun. And, wow, I need some color correction on that, man. Yeah, I'm getting tanned. I'm going to be at the UFO MegaCon. And it's going down June 6th through the 12th in Laughlin, Nevada. If you go over to jimmychurchradio.com, you'll see a UFO MegaCon banner right there. Click on it, take you straight over. Limited tickets. It's about to sell out. Fadernauts, get over there. Get your tickets now. You're going to want to hang out with us. A real in-person conference in Laughlin, Nevada, at the Aquarius Hotel and Casino. So we've got everything. We've got food, drinks, casino, UFOs, sky watches, Billy Carson, Sean Stone, Richard Dolan, Johnny Enoch, Danny Sheehan. So many great speakers. What a great lineup. 7 days of a conference. It's going to be incredible. So I'll see everybody there. I want to have a 7-day Fadernaut party. Okay, the links are over at jimmychurchradio.com. It's simple to do. Just click on that banner that we have over there. All right, follow me on Twitter at jchurchradio. All right, at jchurchradio. The Sandbox, which is right in front of me, hashtag F2B. Hashtag F2BQ is Fade to Black Questions. Hello to everybody over on YouTube. What is up? Facebook. Where else are we going out to? The Bunker Cam. Right over there. Way over there is the Spreaker chat room. We have 2 chat rooms open. Come and hang out with us tonight. Let's get to all of the breaking news. I need a breaking news soundbite. I just need to hit a button. Breaking news. The Shigir Idol, a mysterious carved slab of wood discovered in a Russian bog, is even older than previously thought, and it's twice as old as the Great Pyramid and Stonehenge. The 16-foot statue was found in a peat bog in 1890 by gold miners and was initially carbon dated to about 9,500 years ago. It's covered in faces and symbols, and that part's pretty trippy, and researchers have been surprised at the complexity of the symbols. Now, later, carbon dating pushed that date back to about 11,600 years ago, but new research suggests that the statue is even older than 12,500 years old, making the idol by far the oldest piece of ritual art in the world. Absolutely incredible. That's a crazy face when you look at it. Well, a debris from SpaceX, piece of debris that came from a launch, has turned up on someone's farm in central Washington state. About 1 week after the falling rocket debris sparked reports of shooting stars in the U.S. Pacific Northwest. Now, according to the Grant County Sheriff's Office, the recovered object appears to be a composite overwrapped pressure vessel, or a COPV, belonging to the second stage of a Falcon 9 rocket that launched March 4th from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida on a mission dubbed Starlink 17. LG phones. LG. Wow, this is mind-blowing. LG has announced it is closing their smartphone department, pulling out of the market after years of losses and declining market share. The company announced the move earlier today. It plans to wrap up closure by the end of July, although some of its already existing smartphone models could continue availability. But that availability and the fate of the company's employees will vary by region. Once ranked third, right? Third globally. Today, LG has fallen below the top 7 smartphone manufacturers, and over the years, it has racked up $4.5 billion in losses. Now, I'm going to leave you with this. After being forgotten in a desk drawer for almost 35 years, a sealed copy of the Nintendo video game Super Mario Bros. Sold at auction on Friday for, wait for it, $660,000. It's the most ever paid for a video game. In fact, the record, which was set last July, was like $144,000. Heritage Auction said the NES cartridge was purchased as a Christmas gift in 1986 and was untouched until the seller found it earlier this year. Let's get the show cracking. Happy birthday to today, Pharrell Williams. That's right. Today, Pharrell is 48 years old. Happy. You know you like that song. Wait, that was in was that Despicable Me? Or the Incredibles? I can't remember. Ghost Adventure Zach Bagans today, 44. ABBA's Agnetha Faltskog today is 70 years old. Wall of Voodoo frontman Stan Ridgway is 67. Mexican radio. Yep. And Kid Reed of Kid and Play today is 57 years old. Our dead guy's birthday today is the one and only Tony Williams. 1928 to 1992, died at the age of 64. Tony was the lead singer of the Platters from 1953 to 1960, and many that was the classic lineup of the Platters. It all fell apart right after that. They were one of the most successful vocal groups in early rock and roll. The group had 40 charting singles on the Billboard Hot 100 chart, including 4 number 1 hits. That's right. It was Tony singing the lead vocals on Only You, The Great Pretender, My Prayer, and Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. That's a good song. On August 14th, 1992, Tony died in New York of emphysema, 64 years old. Oh, man, one of the best, one of the greatest. On this day in history, OTD, 1994, Kurt Cobain dies by suicide. His body discovered inside his home in Seattle, Washington, 3 days later by an electrician who was there installing a security system. Fader fact. In 2018, the U.S. hit a record high of never married adults. Are you one? 35% of Americans ages 25 to 50 have never been married. That's crazy town. Compared to 9% in 1970. Now, to put that in, just listen to this in context. In 1970, 91% of everybody was married. That's a trip. Tonight, very special guest Travis Walton is back. looking forward to this. We're going to discuss disclosure, UFOs, ET, contact, abductions, with his 45 years of knowledge. All that and more at the bottom of the hour. Tomorrow night, documentary filmmaker Darcy Weir joins us for the first time. Wednesday night, it is Johnny Enoch with his strangest updates reports. I can't wait for that. Johnny Enoch is the best. Thursday night is another Fader night with open lines all night long. Now I need to hit this River Moon coffee. Oh, yeah. rivermoonwellness.com. It's all you got to do. Faded Black Blend, Game Changer Blend, Amazon store. Everything is there over at Jimmy Church Radio. Click on the links. Promo code F2B Blend. F2B Blend. 15% off of your order today. All right. I remember when I did a presentation about a year and a half ago, and a large group, fun group, and it was about the need that we have right now for leaving this planet, our home, Earth. And it was pretty well received, but there were many, as I looked out into the audience, looked around, that were not really happy about the things that I was saying. And some came up afterwards who were a little more than upset, and that it was depressing. And I know it was because, how do I say this? So many of us just think that all we have to do is take a little bit of care of our little blue gem and it's going to last forever. Like as in, seriously, forever. There are so many reasons to leave this planet. And even if we survive a global natural disaster, right? An asteroid, a comet strike, an actual alien invasion, or blow ourselves up in a World War III nuclear exchange, right? And any of these things could happen at any time, ending all life on Earth. We have the other side, too, the science side, which says this planet, at most, has about 1 billion years left. And that's only if everything is perfect. If anything goes sideways, and if it does, that number could be cut in half. It could be cut in half again. So no matter what, or how we manage to survive another 100 million years, we have to get off this planet. There are numbers out there that kind of confuse the issue. Now, listen to me. That our sun will last about 10 billion years, for instance. And that number's out there, and you can go and check it out yourself. And that we are halfway through that. So we've got plenty of time left. We've got just over 5 billion years, man. It's forever. And it's a big number for sure, but it's totally misleading. So let me explain, and I promise to keep it simple. Our sun right now is burning a core of hydrogen. Okay? Stable. Right? Things lasted this long because we're in that hydrogen phase. Stability. It allowed us to do our thing here for 5 billion years. But it's about to run out. Not this year, but over the next 1 billion years. Okay? And when it starts moving into the next phase, we are going to experience things that we just can't imagine. And all of it happens way before 1 billion years. Okay? Right now, it's hydrogen. The next phase will be a helium core. Okay? That lasts 5 billion years. And it may flip-flop some more. But that last 5 billion years is a helium core phase. And the flip-flopping from hydrogen to helium brings extremes that will, well, fry this planet many times. The sun will grow ginormous. Imagine being outside and we won't be here then, but the entire sky is nothing but a red sun as far as you can see from left to right, right? The temperatures on our planet will jump a lot, boiling the oceans into the sky, creating an insulation to make sure that everything underneath it stays nice and hot for millions of years, to the tune of probably a couple of 1,000 degrees, right? So, and that all by itself says that we got to go. And we need to start making plans now. Okay? And this period of transition from hydrogen to helium is something that is going to cause the sun to freak out. It's not going to be a billion years from now. It could be sooner. Now, it's not like right now that we have a planet to go to. I get that. All right, we haven't figured that out, but we'll find one, more sooner than later. I can promise you that. But we have to start thinking about building ships. Huge generational colony ships. Eric Stitt and I were talking about this a couple of months ago. But big enough for, 100,000 people each. We got to build them, we've got to populate them, and we've got to send them on their way. It's simply not a question of if we should do it. It's that we have to do it. We don't have a choice. The alternative is to stick it out here until the earth is just a lump of coal that is sucked into the sun at some point, right? And nobody wants that. So for the human race to continue, we have to venture out and start populating not only our own Milky Way, but other galaxies throughout the universe. We should start building our first generational colony ship now. We must start taking the first steps now. The sun is one thing, but what if we detected a doomsday-type asteroid headed our way, right? It's already too late. Today, there isn't a way to get 5 people off of this planet and headed out to the stars. We don't have it, let alone 1,000 or 100,000. But if we had a project started, maybe there's a chance we, might be able to do something when and if something crazy is about to go down. I often think about how many civilizations out there that have started and ended for whatever reason. And how many managed to survive their sun. Think about that. How many survived technology? We don't even know if we're going to survive technology. Nuclear weapons, for example, right? How they survived asteroids. How did they survive their own alien invasion? Everything that stands in front of us right now, countless others have already experienced it over billions of years. That's a fact. We are now at that point in history when, and this is what is so fascinating, where we are able to not only ask the questions about the future, but we have the knowledge of what needs to be done. You see, right now, any astrophysicist will tell you our days are numbered. The sun's not going to last forever. The transitions that it's about to go through are going to be nuts, and it's inevitable. It's going to happen. There's all the other possibilities that are right there in front of us that we don't have any control of. And if something does go down, if something crazy goes, we don't have a way right now to get off this planet. We don't have a contingency plan. So let's get that plan. Let's build those ships, right? It's time to start our next great adventure. just like all of those ships 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, started to sail out and over in the horizon, right, to explore. That was then. The next great adventure is us getting off this planet. And that is not depressing. That is not sad. That is us and our future. That is it. That is it. 10 billion years from now, 5 billion years after our solar system is gone, we'll be out there. We'll be out there. We'll be doing our thing. We need to make those plans now. All right? Seriously. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. I remember when I gave this presentation and I was going through the numbers and I was talking about all of this, and it is fun to think about. It's inevitable that we are going to leave and go. And I thought it was exciting. And then I just found out that so many of us live in the now and just assume that Earth and our sun and everything else is just going to be here forever. That is not the case. It is simply not the case. I am your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Tonight on this program, Travis Walton. And tonight we are going to discuss it all. That's right. Tomorrow night, Darcy Weir. Wednesday night, Johnny Enoch. Thursday night is Fader night, with open lines all night long. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. On the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. I'll be right back after this short break with Travis Walton. Stay with me.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Introducing the Game Changer blend from River Moon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. With wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all River Moon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRARadio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, folks. It's troubling times, and fear is pushing emotions, which in turn pushes health the wrong direction. Do you ever get an ache because life is uneasy? Try Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. Life Change Tea works on your digestive tract, helping to move food through quicker and comfortably so your health is spot on. Life Change Tea may not help with world issues, but it will help with your digestive issues. A glass a day helps keep the intruders away. So, change your life today. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. GetTheT.com. If your health game is off, get on by ordering Life Change Tea. GetTheT.com. And while you're on our site, look around at the great non-GMO organic supplements. And if you're a sales shopper, go to our specials page and see what's for you. I've been drinking the tea for 12 years and I'm sure glad for its health benefits. Again, that's GetTheT.com. GetTheT.com. The tea that makes you go.
Fadernauts, when you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Travis Walton. Tomorrow night, Darcy Weir, filmmaker. Wednesday night, Johnny Enoch joins us. Thursday night's another Fader night with open lines all night long. But tonight, Travis joins us, and we are going to find out what he has learned over the last 45 years and what are his opinions about UFOs, our government, ET, and our community. Tonight, we're going to get those answers and much more. We all know that Travis's life changed on November 5th, 1975, while working with the logging crew in the Apache-Sitgreaves National Forest in Arizona. It has been 45 years, and I need to find out tonight, what has Travis learned? I want to welcome back to Fade to Black, the one and only Travis Walton. Travis, good evening, man. How are you?
Jimmy, great to be with you.
It's great to hear your voice, man. It's great to hear your voice. Hey, Travis, before we get started, I got to ask the obvious question. 2020, it was a crazy year. How did you get through it? Everything okay with you and the family?
Oh, yeah, no problem. My son-in-law caught it, but he's sick like 2 days, and he was fine. After that.
Just 2 days. I got it. I don't even know if I told you. Yeah, I got it. Our family got it back during Thanksgiving in 2020, and it took me down, man. It was nothing nice. It was nothing nice, but got through it, and it was really strange, Travis, how I could tell over the weeks that I was still running at like 50%. Right, 60%, and it took me a while. It took me a couple of months to get back to 100%. But now today I'm fine. It was nuts. But did you get vaccinated?
No, but I think I actually caught it on a trip back from Argentina. A little bit earlier than they say it was actually escaping from China, but there was a passenger next to me, obviously very, very sick for a 13-hour flight. And when I got home, I was down in bed for a week. and that's very unusual for me. I hadn't called in sick one time in 20 years.
And you've always looked great. You know, somebody posted a comment. I don't know if you caught this on social media, but I did. And it said, Travis has not aged. I think his DNA has been messed with. Jimmy, can you ask him if his DNA has been messed with? And, yeah, you've always looked great, and health issues have never come into play for you.
I've been extraordinarily healthy, but I try to live healthy.
Well, you probably have extraordinary skincare products. I'm just saying, Travis. I'm just saying, everybody, you just look great. You look great. And so let's actually move on. I had a conversation with you a couple of times over the last couple of weeks, but one of the things that you and I agreed on was that we've always had these amazing conversations in private, and that never rolled over onto the air, and that we needed to do that. And why do you think that is? Let me ask you a direct question. Why do you think that it is that everybody just wants to talk about the old days in 1975 instead of where you are today or what you think about the future? Why is it that everybody wants to just go back to 1975?
Well, with the incident itself, I have to just stick to the facts. I try not to speculate, and anything that is something I'm just guessing, I try to label it that. So the conversations you and I have off the air are me just expressing my opinions and philosophies and things that I've come to on my own. That I can't really prove them. They're just my opinion. I've had 20 years to think about it, or 40, I guess. So I guess that warrants a little bit of listening to it. But I try to separate the facts of what happened from things I speculate or even conclude.
Now, let's start here. Do you feel that ET knows where you are right now?
Well, that's something that's changed over time. In the early days, I thought that maybe my unexpected action had triggered some reaction in them, that it was totally unplanned, totally spontaneous, an accident, actually. And I sort of subscribed to the theory, the anthill theory, that we're so far above ants that you walk by the anthill and you don't stop and say, I think I'll stop and have a conversation with that ant right there. And, some people think that way, that they're so advanced over us that why would they even want to talk to us? But I think it's actually the other way, that they are so intelligent and capable of keeping track of a vast amount of knowledge, that I would even go so far as to say that if you saw one as a child and they see you again as an adult, I would say they know it's you.
Do you feel tracked?
Oh, not in like saying I'm special or anything. But,
No. I'm referring to ET itself. Do you think that they are following your life since 1975?
Well, probably, but probably keeping track of everyone. That's a vast amount of data. We got 7 or 8 billion people on the planet, but we're talking about intelligence that is so far beyond anything we would recognize that. Computers give you a glimpse of that. The vast amount of data that they can collate and keep track of, every person and every conversation and everything. That's just what humans can do. I always compare it to that thing of see how far we've come in the last 200 or 300 years. 300 or 400 years ago, the most technological thing we had was fire. I mean, all this technology, all this electronics and chemistry and everything that's going on in medical science is brand new, in comparison to these. Astronomers say that some of these star systems are vastly, vastly older than us, and a civilization progressing at our rate, whether that's rapid or slow, whatever, if they had an extra 500,000 years, look how far we've come in a few hundred, the level of intelligence is something we probably would not be able to imagine, because no matter what the technology is, the ability to digest and manage that much information is really the frontier for any intelligent form of life.
Do you think that we are at that point where here we are in 2021, and certainly we know how far we've come since 1900, 120 years. Are we at that point where we are just now able to understand the advanced technology that may be out there, where we can now finally ask these questions because of the technology that we now possess today? Do you think we would understand a little bit more about ET?
Yeah, I agree with that, because even our current ability to manage vast amounts of data is even just a few years ago no one would have guessed, and this budding science of artificial intelligence is a whole new frontier that I'll tell you what the big breakthrough is going to be. It's going to be the computer-brain interface, where you're not punching keys on a keyboard. You have some way of basically using a computer with your brain.
When we talk in those terms, I don't want to go back necessarily to 1975, but did you feel evidence of that, where that is where others are? We're not there yet. Because in 1975, where we were technically, we weren't anywhere close to where we were going to be in 1995 with the internet and computers 20 years later. We were still juvenile. Were you seeing evidence of these great leaps?
Yeah, I think so. That it never ceases to amaze.
The other part of this, and especially where we are right now with UFOs and ET and UAPs, and we're going to discuss a little bit more about what the government may or may not know. But do you think that we are being visited right now as you and I are talking?
I do. I really do. And perhaps most likely not by just a single species.
With the other part of this, which fascinates me the most, which is science, astronomy, physics, astrophysics, theoretical physics, and what we know about the universe and our Milky Way today. We didn't know in 1995. We didn't know about how many exoplanets were out there and how big everything is. The numbers are jumping now. And the latest numbers, the latest numbers just in our Milky Way are 80 billion Earth-like rocky planets. 80 billion, Trevor, right? Not one,
just
80
our
billion.
Galaxy.
Right. The numbers that just in our Milky Way have to be huge, I would think.
Oh, yeah. And again, some of these life-supporting bodies are vastly older than us, and of course they're going to be way, way ahead of us. Now, I hasten to add that there's cave aliens too, but those are not the ones who are coming here.
Yeah, all stages have to be out there, right? There's
Yeah.
planets with dinosaurs yet, right? That haven't gotten to where we are today. And then there's the others that are 10,000 or a billion years ahead of us.
Yeah, and for supposedly wise scientists to tell us, yeah, but it would take so long to get here. There's just no way that they would. They're pretty presumptuous that these vastly more advanced intelligences haven't found a way to make the leap other than just simple, Newtonian physics.
Yeah, that's the way that, they want to think that they have the same knowledge that we do. It's not that kind of party. They're not.
Yeah, that's a little bit limiting.
Yeah, they're not lighting fires. And see, in that our technology, we're literally burning candles, right, for rockets to get off this planet. Right, that's where we're still in the fire stage that you referenced earlier.
We look so primitive to them, and the thing that they came up with in science fiction, it was in Star Trek, but it makes perfect sense. The non-interference directive, that space traveling civilizations would have to draw a line to not make themselves known to less developed civilizations. I mean, you still got a huge number of people on this planet who actually think it's possible that we're the only life in the universe, and that is so beyond ridiculous that, to me, they're the kooks.
Well, and you bring up such a great point, which is, even on this planet, if there is a unique culture or a species of animal that is unique to an island, we leave it alone. We don't go and interfere with that. We don't want to change the way that we don't want to, and that has to be the way that the universe needs to be dealt with. If we go to a planet and we find cavemen and women, what, are we going to show them how to build a cell phone? No, we're not going to get involved. They need to go through their own thing, just like us here. It's no different, right?
Yeah, and the presumptuousness is so ridiculous. We have this thing called nuclear weapons. That's such an awesome amount of energy being released that there couldn't be anything more powerful than that, right? Well, the only reason I bring that up is because if these civilizations have existed for many, many millennia more than us, the mere fact that they still are alive shows that they're not warlike. I mean, the power to destroy entire star systems would make short work of any of them that are warlike.
They would have, and I mentioned this in my opening statement in the show tonight, they would have gone through everything that we are faced with today. Technology, they would have survived technology, right? They didn't kill themselves off, like with nuclear weapons, for instance. They survived asteroids. They survived another alien invasion of their own, right? They survived things. We need to do those exact same things in order to move forward, right?
Right. And, that brings me to the thing of, people are always saying, well, if they were really there, why wouldn't they just land in Washington, D.C. and say, here we are, Earthlings, There's good reasons that they're not doing that. And it's not purely, in apprehension that they would provoke some sort of immediate backlash, that our systems would attempt to destroy them. It's also for our own good, our own to introduce the kind of technology available to them, and that immediately that would be the first thing people would be wanting to know. If we had active communication with them, and it would be incredibly destructive to this planet, and the, just based on just for example, the the oil industry. If that was obsolete overnight, whole nations would go bankrupt, and there'd be gigantic revolutions and wars and destruction just over that. Not to mention all the other kinds of technology that people might ask for, and it's only good common sense that they're not handing us that. Oh, here's a brand new box of matches. Now go play.
Yeah, exactly. And what is fascinating, if to contemplate, 100 years ago, if they would have brought us the ideas of folding space or wormholes or these ideas, we wouldn't have understood any of that. Today, with where we are in physics and science, we could almost grasp these ideas. And that shows you how far we have come in the last 120 years since Einstein first brought forward relativity.
That's true, but when you step back and look at the history of humankind, and not just United States, but every civilization on this planet, our history is not really very encouraging to any observing species. I mean, we're basically savages to the nth degree. What was the expression that humans' principal activity is intertribal warfare or something of that nature?
Well, we certainly shoot first, right? We certainly shoot first and then try to figure stuff out. And there was, you probably know about this, there's an island off the coast of India, untouched. There's a tribe that lives there that has never had any contact with any other cultures, right? And there was a natural disaster. It might have been like a tsunami, some kind of hurricane or something over there. So the Indian government said, you know what? Let's at least cruise over the island in some helicopters just to make sure that everything is okay. And they did. And you know what happened? They got shot at with bows and arrows. And that's a fact. That's just in our DNA, isn't it?
Yeah, well, fear of the unknown. Is this here to destroy us? And it's a natural reflex to want to survive and defend yourself. I very often go back to quoting that there's a French saying that basically translates to, this animal is evil. It defends itself when attacked. And it's kind of a sarcastic point of view that people warring at each other, some people get the idea that to go use force against these other people, and then they fight back. And so the observers from out there are watching us behave in ways that are very unbecoming.
Have you been, I don't think I've ever asked you this, do you feel observed by the government? People talk about Men in Black and all of that, but do you feel observed?
Well, not like I'm more observed than the rest of us, but I think they keep an eye on things there. I mean, let's get real. We've known for a number of years about the existence of the Utah Data Center. This is a computer that involves acres, and it is basically storing and processing every single electronic transmission on the face of the earth. And this is human technology going on there. So they can certainly keep track of things that are of interest to them. And we're seeing more and more that these, I forget the name for it, but it's a kind of a thing that can scan for and filter things of interest. So yeah, they're keeping an eye on things, but I don't think, when you get right down to it, that if you could tell them, don't do that, and they would listen to you, that necessarily be a wise thing, because other governments are doing that too, and so we can't just stand down and be defenseless.
Do you ever have you ever left your home and saw a van across the street or a dark sedan down the block? Have you had those experiences?
Well, I try not to get paranoid about stuff, but I've seen some things. Well, what's up with that? And I've also been informed of some things that went on there. Our government keeps an eye on things, but I don't think that their intentions are necessarily so sinister. That brings me to the idea of disclosure. For so many years that people were sort of resentful and angry at the United States government for not throwing up their books and admitting that they have recovered this material and made these observations. But I always thought, well, would it be in our best interest to do that? Because, unfortunately, there are several nations on this earth who would love to have what our government has kept in secret. And who knows how much more. They've got their own files, of course. So how much are we ahead of them, or are they ahead of us? I think that's best kept a secret, just for strategic reasons. So it necessarily might not be the best thing. We'd all love to know. We'd love, Americans to know, but we have to take into consideration that anything that they make public is public to the world and might have some unpleasant consequences.
Let's take our break right here, and we'll continue with a disclosure when we come back after this short break. Our guest tonight, Travis Walton. I am your host, Jimmy Church. We are going to discuss everything tonight with Travis. You stay right there. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
This is Billy Carson with ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Forbidden Knowledge TV has just reached its 1-year anniversary. That's right, 1 year. And as a show of appreciation, we are giving all new subscribers a free 30-day trial of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's 30 days to binge watch thousands of movies, documentaries, conferences, workshops, lectures, yoga classes, meditation courses, and so much more. So log on to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv from your computer or mobile device, or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, iTunes, or Google Play today, and use coupon code 30daysfree. That's coupon code 30 days free on ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Carolyn Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Carolyn is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer, Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. To see Carolyn's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. We're of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Travis Walton. Tomorrow night, filmmaker, documentarian, Darcy Weir joins us for the first time. And Wednesday night, Johnny Enoch. Thursday night, Fader night. Open lines all night long. Tonight, Travis Walton. And now, Travis, we were talking about disclosure right before the break. And I want to continue that. And with your definition, what's your definition of disclosure?
Well, I've really, I'm grateful to those who, there's some particular people who have pushed a lot towards trying to get the government to be more forthright, and to a certain extent, I think they've been successful, in an appropriate way. They're not going to throw open their books so that our enemies, have a share of the technology that our government has managed to gather, but I think the government has reached a point where the idea of saying this doesn't exist and this is all ridiculous and this is the tinfoil hat people, they realize that trying to discredit witnesses is actually discrediting them at this point. To keep the little green men thing, or make fun of it, it's not, nobody's buying it. So it's actually reducing their credibility, not the witnesses' credibility. So they're leaking some things that are designed to confirm that they're aware of this without being too much of a shock. The releases that have occurred have been done in the tradition of methods used when they want something out there but don't want it to get too much attention. They release it late on a Friday so that it simmers all weekend and kind of dies down, and doesn't generate a whole new, explosion of going viral or whatever.
Yeah, crazy. An explosion of crazy. Is this disclosure to you?
Well, it's definitely a peak in that direction, and everything that they're doing has to be very gradual, or it will create alarm. Not for people like most of our listeners here, you and I, but there are some people who would be so totally shocked at the very notion that out of billions and billions of stars that we're not just, I've argued with people, so you think when you go out there and you look at those billions of stars that they're just there to twinkle in our night sky, to kind of a little light show for us? And they, with all seriousness, go, yeah, well, that's kind of absurd. Just the common sense of it, when you've got that many, and some of these star systems are vastly older than us, of course they are there. Then the big question becomes, why the secrecy? Why aren't they just making open contact? And it makes perfect sense. I think the sightings that we have are not accidents. I've said this before, they don't like slap their forehead and go, oh, dang, human spotted me again. I guess I'll have to be more careful next time. Right. I think I think these glimpses that we get it's a show. And, some of the witnesses and sightings that people have had, it seems to me that the aliens were actually showing themselves to a certain degree. And they have a way of knowing what sort of things might record or, provide too much proof. And it's always just shy of that thing that's going to cause the panic that we're talking about.
Now, you do so many conferences, and you're out there speaking with so many, and you also listen to other presenters as well. And there is what appears to me, and we've done a lot of conferences together, actually. There appears to me to be a divide. It's almost like 50-50, Travis, where you've got half of the UFO community that doesn't need disclosure. They've had their own form of it. And then you have the other half of the community that anything short of the president live on television, right? It's really strange, isn't it? When you see this, what goes through your mind? And for you, what would be the next step forward? Or do you even need disclosure?
Well, I don't, but, I'm observing, and I watched just the unwarranted reaction to our last president's announcement of the formation of the Space Force. Oh, that was so mocked with all this stuff about little green men and all this stuff. And to me, to see that much reaction was very shameful because, I did a conference years ago with a guy, and his job, what he did was push back against the other nations that were hacking and attacking the United States on online computer. And what he said is, it's just me and 10 other people in a room, and the Chinese have an entire military division devoted to this. And the idea that this is ridiculous to have a space force, because see, the idea is, a killer satellite could be maneuvered into position to basically blind us, and all the artillery or missiles in the world aren't going to do us any good if we can't aim and navigate them. So it's very important that we stay ahead of the game as far as what's going on in space, just with Earthlings. So to get that much ridicule about something called a Space Force, I think we really do need to step up our knowledge and superiority in that category. But that's a kind of an indicator to me how full disclosure might not be met and welcomed as much as we the listeners of us tonight might appreciate.
Do you think that the Space Force was established for defensive measures? For ET?
Yeah, well, I think there is an area of that because, where we've all heard about various releases that have been made, the Navy gun camera footage, and I don't, care what people are saying about trying to discredit that. Those are the naysayers again. These releases and these disclosures are designed to let us know that there is something there that isn't ours, that's better than anything we've got, and of course we need to pay attention, at least from a strategic point of view. Their job is to make sure that we're safe in a defensive scenario.
Is it because the government knows something that we don't, that there is a need for the Space Force? That's the part where I start to get a little uncomfortable.
Well, I do think they know more than us, but, the presumption that they know everything and they're hiding that from us, I think is going a little too far. We don't want them to reveal everything they have. They know more than us, but they don't know everything, and how much they do or don't know it's wise that they not disclose that. Although the recent trend in saying yes, something's there in this limited release is also wise to prepare people, and who knows how long it's going to take. Some of us are more than ready. We've been ready for decades, but
sure.
There's others who would just totally freak out, and that's why I was so delighted with this Mars lander thing, searching for evidence of even ancient primitive life on another planet.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Let's talk about this upcoming, I don't want to change the conversation where we are right now. But why do you think that the conversation has been military centered, right? Where we're not hearing from people like you or other civilian eyewitnesses and contactees, that we're only getting the military side? Because we know that ET isn't just interested in the military. They certainly are. But they've made a lot of other contact. But everything that is going to be coming out of this report, the UAP Task Force report, is military-centered. Why do you think that is?
Well, what you're saying is absolutely true, and for a number of reasons. We have commissioned, and the taxpayers have allowed the military to do these things, that the surveillance and observation, the satellites, are extensive, and they're in the best position to see these things. So, of course, they're the ones who know the most. Civilians, from personal experience, like my own and those of my coworkers, leave us with a certainty that's maybe even more confident than what the military has. But as far as credibility is concerned, from a political standpoint, these releases and this information is being sourced from the military probably is a good way to introduce and accustom the people, get them used to the idea so that they don't freak out, because it comes from an authoritative source that because the standard rejection of such a concept has always been, well, that's the crackpots are saying this. So if it comes from the military, you have good, solid reports from military intelligence Navy gun camera footage, satellite observations, that sort of thing, is going to be more acceptable to the average American.
And do you think that whoever visited Earth back in 1975 and made contact with you, do you think that they've returned?
Yeah, I do. I think perhaps they've been here a very, very long time. If you go back historically, you can see evidence that these sorts of things were being, sightings and whatnot were being made, but it was misinterpreted as being some sort of the gods, a religious interpretation. We didn't even have something as simple as an airplane, so the most logical explanation for people that saw these things were to describe them in terms of religious phenomenon. But it's been here for a very long time.
Yeah, certainly. But I guess what I'm referring to is like that exact ship, the one that you made contact with in 1975, that civilization from the planet, wherever they came from, their start, do you think that they have returned?
Yes, and if we had at our disposal unlimited scientific knowledge and the ability to cure disease and make everything better and extend life, I'd say one of the first things that's going to develop for us and for any living species is to get rid of this thing called death. That's really inconvenient. It's a waste of knowledge and experience. People live productive lives and accumulate huge amounts of understanding, and then poof, it's all gone. And
yeah, it's just not fair.
Has to start over.
It's just not fair, man. Just not fair. Now, let's talk about abductions for just a second. We can continue after the break. We're a few minutes away from that, about 15. Is abductions, because you, again, you're out there. You have always made yourself available. You're always there. Questions and people come up and share their experiences. You certainly hear from others and give their presentations. That number has to be in the millions, right? It's just not Travis Walton. We all know that. Do you listen to these other abductions and contact experiences to see the correlation and connect the dots with your own?
Yes, and there are some, and there are some that don't. But just to be fair, I don't believe every single one is the same category as what those of us who have had this kind of an experience. I think it's possible in some cases that some people have had extremely vivid dreams that they really believe happened, but it was something else. And I kind of also divert from many of the experiences that are being described in the big question: are they good or are they bad?
Well,
and,
yeah, definitely. And
that's a whole show in itself.
Yes, it is a whole show in itself, and we'll try to get some of that in. Now, I know, it has to be the case that there are things in your encounter that you've never shared. I'm not asking for you to share those now, but that things that only Travis knows. And you are listening to somebody, maybe somebody's coming up to you at a conference. I had this experience. Can I share it with you? And you're listening, and then they say something that only you know. And you hear it from them, and you go, holy crap. has that happened to you?
Yes, it has. And, I have had these sort of connections where I know immediately that this person, has had a similar experience to what I had.
And how do you react to that? Do you have an immediate bond, right?
Oh yeah, there's a huge empathy there, but and to the extent that I've had 45 years to think about it, I try to help them see it a little bit from my perspective, that perhaps I could have saved myself a lot of the pain and fear and anxiety that I had in the initial years if I had understood what I come to understand as time went on.
How so, Travis? How so?
Well, I took it to be extremely threatening, life-threatening at the time. That, I even called it an abduction, and accepted that terminology from everyone. But over time, I've leaned more and more towards the theory that it wasn't an actual abduction, that it probably wasn't even planned, just got close enough, was injured, and then it became necessary to clean up my mess. And so I was taken aboard as a kind of an expression of, well, I guess you could call it humanitarian, but alienitarian, but to put me back together.
Alienitarian. Oh man, let me write that down, Travis. That's now stolen, but at least I'm admitting it on the air. Yeah, that was good. Hold on. Alienitarian. That's it. That is the new term. I like that. Well, okay, let me ask you this before we get to the break. Ship comes back. It goes to Snowflake. The door opens. Do you get on board? Do you go back?
Oh, you know what? I'd like to think I would be calm enough to take the opportunity to go and get some major questions answered. But I had an experience a few years ago where I had the opportunity, had this major sighting, had multiple witnesses. So the bottom line was, my son said, "Should we pull over, Dad?" I said, no, keep going. And I was surprised at myself. What the heck? I was thinking afterwards, why didn't we get out and take a picture? But I was too afraid to even let him pull off the highway and take a picture.
Why do you think that was?
Well,
was it fear? Was it
PTSD,
yeah.
Some fears lurking in my subconscious that was much greater than I thought. I would have expected that I would have had a better, more calm, accepting point of view.
Was it because your son was with you, maybe?
Well, my son and my girlfriend, but, it turns out there was like 15 other witnesses reporting it just by the next morning, so I wouldn't even come forward about it if I hadn't been many witnesses. But okay, so that was then.
But today, you would go.
I would hope that I would have the fortitude to go and get some answers, and maybe even express a little gratitude.
Say thank you
for what happened.
Yeah.
Then and for what happened after that.
I didn't ask you before. One of the things, and I've just got a couple of minutes before the break, and I always joke about whether I would do it or not, and I always pin food on my decision, right? If there is good food on board, I don't want to eat alien bugs, right? I would want to make sure. And one of the things with your experience was that you were extremely dehydrated. It was 5 days later, and I always thought about, what did Travis eat? Was the food good, or did you eat at all?
Well, I would love to know, but the medical tests indicated that there must have been some form of nourishment because of the absence of ketones. Ketones are a chemical that appears in the blood when you've been starving and you're starting to consume your own body for fuel.
Mm-hmm.
And so that suggests that they must have introduced nutrients in some form that I can't recall. What an alien cheeseburger would be like, I don't know. Would it have been some sort of absorption by osmosis or something? I don't know how they got that into me because I didn't have conscious memory of that.
Yeah, that would really be a bad vacation, right? If you're spending light years on a ship with bad food. It would just kill the whole experience, Travis.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So now, when we come back after the break, we're going to take a break right here, but I want to talk about, it seems that, let me ask you this, 60 seconds. It seems that experiencers and abduction cases, for the first time ever, are being discussed more and more out in the open. Do you see that? Do you feel that, where it is starting to take a serious tone?
Yes, and the acceptance, even with serious news outlets, they're deciding to, have the courage to just, tell the facts, and without the tinfoil hat or little green men comments, and just with a straight face, this was reported, and let us decide what we think of it.
Let's take our break right here. Our guest tonight, the one and only Travis Walton. Tonight, we are going to discuss everything. I am your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. More with Travis after this short break. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com. Fadernauts. When you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Hoy,
Hi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, our guest, Travis Walton. More with Travis in just a bit. Right now, I want to talk to you about Virtual Shield VPN. We've built a brand new bunker. It's gorgeous, but we didn't do it without Virtual Shield VPN. All of these computers, everything here runs Virtual Shield VPN. You've got to get your own VPN today. Privacy is a concern. Your internet search traffic is a concern. And Virtual Shield VPN is built from the ground up with encrypted servers all around the world protecting your data. There is a strict no-log policy. You get the very best in VPN technology. Right now, all you have to do is go to Virtual Shield VPN /Fade to Black. You will get Virtual Shield VPN for 50% off today. And if you don't want to type into your browser, which I understand, then just click on the video link below. It's right there. Click on the link, Virtual Shield VPN for 50% off today. Do it now. Our guest tonight, Travis Walton, and I promised everyone Travis and I would talk about everything. Travis, I want to talk about abductions now. And first things first out of the gate. Is this an evil plan, or do we have nothing to fear? Good or bad?
Well,
What's going on?
Yeah, that's a very good question. It's one of the top ones. And you know, for years I heard so much stuff that this was some kind of a tantamount to a build-up to the point where they were going to take over. And I just became less and less believing of that point of view, that many of the experiencers, you know, interpret it that way because they don't understand, like I didn't understand. But I doubt that there's some sinister plot to take over the planet. I think it would be so easy for a technology that advanced that we'd never know what hit us. It would have been done decades ago. So I do not believe that's their intention. But that's just my personal opinion. But whether or not, see, if somebody, you know, wakes up in a situation where they're, you know, they didn't volunteer, at least they don't. You see, a lot of people have advanced the theory that even when you're taking and you think that it is involuntary, that you were, you know, abducted, that on some level you have given permission in the past. I know I haven't definitively decided that you know, takes care of every kind of interaction between these beings and humans, but I recall that one researcher who had done quite a bit of research in hypnosis had found that people who thought they had experienced a negative encounter, that it was abduction, but they later discovered that a medical problem they had was removed. It had vanished. That this difficulty, this problem they had, was no longer there. So I've compared it to a little child going to the dentist. no amount of explaining that this is for the best, and if we fix this, it's going to be better in the long run, and this guy is there to help and make the pain go away. To the little child, the man in the white coat is a monster, and there's no talking him out of it.
It's certainly not with me when I was a kid. But I had an evil dentist when I was 5. And dude was just evil, man. He was evil. And now, what do we do? There are so many out there, and it's too many to count, that want to insist that ETs are evil. This is bad, and they are, and then you have the other side, and they just confront and they just want to argue this point that their experiences were bad, they were evil, and ETs don't have our best interest in mind. Then you have the other side.
Go so far as to claim that they're not aliens at all, that they're demons. But all I can say is that I don't see evidence to support that theory.
And why would the government right now, and it seems to me, this is from my observation, that with the UAPs and with the Navy videos and the pilots, and that the position right now that has been into the media from the Pentagon is fear. It's a threat. It's fear. It's a threat. When there's no evidence, I don't see planes getting shot out of the sky. I don't know of any military personnel that have been killed. I don't see evidence of that, but yet they want to push the threat and fear narrative.
Yeah, I think they do, but of necessity, actually. If we saw any sort of technology that was superior to ours, it would behoove these people who are entrusted with defending us and making sure we're not annihilated by our earthly enemies to certainly take a closer look at anything that exhibited superior maneuverability, speed, whatever, things that we can't match. And so they're narrowly focused, maybe even got blinders on to an extent, but their tunnel vision is we have to make sure this is not a threat. And so they have to take that approach, and I'd expect nothing less, actually. I don't know that they have to insist that it must be a threat, but they're interested in this in the sense to make sure it's not.
Now, with the abduction scenario that appears to be going on, where there's way too many people out there with these experiences, but what is the agenda for these abductions? So many theories are out there. It's a hybrid program. They're having kids. They're taking sexual semen and eggs and implanting and growing. Is it that? What's the agenda for the abductions?
Wow, that is probably the heaviest question here.
Yes, it is.
Is it totally benign? Are they trying to help us, or do they have some sort of even if they're not design? If their intention isn't ultimately to remove us and have the planet for themselves, if their intention is something that's to their advantage and not necessarily to ours, maybe manipulate our course so that in the future we become something different than what it would be without them, but not necessarily something terrible. Maybe an improvement. We don't know, but that's the big question is why those. I was talking to a songwriter here recently, and he asked me just give me a line, just give me some words about that sums up the thing, and I said, the question of why.
I know, right?
And well, he was very taken with that simple statement there. That that's I don't have that answer, but I think it's and believe me, I've talked to many people who think they know, and the people will get in line, but unfortunately they're all different.
Yeah, I know, right? That is so true.
If I could settle on one that was kind of like unanimous, what is the question of why? Maybe that's why I would go ahead and get on board to have those questions answered. That would be the ultimate reason for voluntarily entering the ship again.
The last week I had a guest on the show, Travis, and I said something I don't think I've ever said before. I said, if they've been visiting us for millions of years, and I'm sure that they have, then wouldn't that make us all hybrids at this point, right? I mean,
well, yeah, in the sense that we have like cattle and horses, and they're really the products of human manipulation to make them what they are today. Their original wild stock is far, far different from what we have today, but for our purposes, it's superior to what they came from.
I said to somebody once, I said, I think Travis is an alien. Have you ever looked into his eyes? And now let's go. You just said something interesting. I'm going to go back to this. That you want to get questions answered. What would the first question you would have? What would that be?
Right off the bat, why was I taken? Why are you keeping your distance? Why this marginal exposure? They're way too advanced for it to be accidental. So they're showing themselves to a certain limited extent. To the point where they even know how good the photographic evidence will be, to the point where they can reach out and interfere with any evidence to make it, as limited as they need it to be. So that's what I want to know. We're being conditioned, sure. Humans are, as a species, a bunch of savages. We're being nudged in the direction of a better way of a better approach. If we can stop interpreting this as invading monsters, the limit that we are experiencing in terms of them just openly communicating is really of our own making, our own lack of readiness.
Are you playing guitar right now, Travis? Tell me the truth.
Bumped my guitar.
Tell me the truth.
No, I just bumped it with my foot.
I thought, how cool is that? Travis has got his guitar strapped on during the interview. I would want to know. I want your opinion on this. I would want to know, and I'm being serious too. Was Roswell you? Right? I would literally ask that question. That is just something I need the answers to. I would go with that. I would want to know where they're from. I would want to know that, of course, and how many times have they been visiting us? Are they going to other planets? What else have they discovered? But I would also want to know cattle mutilations. Was that you guys? Was that us? Is that our own government, doing this? There's certain things that have happened on this planet that we don't have answers for. And I would want to know. I would want to know those questions, too. What do you think?
Yeah. That would definitely be nice to know those things, for sure.
Going back, what would why you, right? Why did they take you on board? That's good. Are you interested about where they are from?
Well, while we're on that, I had a joking sort of exchange with one of the other crew members. he was being asked, well, how come you didn't get out of the truck? And I don't know whether he was joking or not, but he said, well, because those of us in the truck had a stronger mind, that we were able to resist the mind control, and Travis didn't. So they controlled him to get out of the truck and approach. And I said, well, Steve, I said his name, how do you know that it wasn't the other way around, that there was mind control to keep us in the truck, and I was strong enough to resist it? But it's just a joke we had between us, and who knows? I'd say the reason I got out and the others didn't is because I was impulsive and it was dumb. I wish I hadn't,
Well, there's always somebody like you in a group of friends, right? There always is. There's the guy that's going to climb the tree and jump out of it, right? And nobody else. There's a guy that's going to cliff dive. There's always one in the group that chooses to do what nobody else is crazy enough to do. And at that moment, it was you, Travis, and you probably lived much of your life that way, I would think.
Yeah, I'd done stuff that I live to regret, but it's a good thing that some of those other guys were more stable than I was. I think Mike was, rather heroic in that he, kept it together and kept the presence of mind and took the crew to safety. That was his immediate impulse, and although I'd like to know what would have happened had they not gone anywhere. Would the craft have just left me laying there, or what?
Would they have taken the whole truck? Right?
Maybe they could, or take the whole crew, or maybe there's some other kind of telepathic, mental telepathy sort of mind control to black everybody out. But I am grateful that they did return. And unlike the movie, it wasn't just one. It was all the rest of the crew came back to see if they could rescue me.
Do you think that our government, no, not our government, any government is in constant contact with ET communications?
I think that's possible, but I don't buy it in terms of a conspiracy of governments with the aliens against us. I don't really subscribe to that theory. I think the only way it could have been kept a secret was with the understanding that this was benevolent. If there was some sort of sinister plot, governments are notoriously poor at keeping secrets.
Do you think, and I go back to like the movie Arrival, where, contact is made and then suddenly the governments of the world are keeping their ET information to themselves, right? Do you think that there is a cooperation, a back channel of communication with the knowledge of ET?
Well, not to the extent of sharing what they have, although some governments may be trying to trade certain limited disclosures with our own government. That's kind of what they do. That's human nature, We'll tell you what we got if you tell us what you've got. But it's more than the average American, what the average human has. The governments have a greater amount of that knowledge, but it's not everything. That's just my hunch.
Giorgio Tsoukalos was on the show a few years ago, Travis, and he's on all the time, but he said this one thing to me that I just never forgot, and I repeat this quote all the time. It was profound. He said, Jimmy, when ET gets here and we are able to openly with everybody communicate and ask questions, that we are going to find out quickly that we were all wrong. Right? No matter what, right? We're just wrong.
That's kind of the history of science. As a matter of fact, the great Stanton Friedman wrote a book, and the title was Science Was Wrong. A whole litany of things over the years where they've made absolute pronouncements that this is the way it is, and we know better than you, and it turned out to not be that way at all.
Well,
I mean, some of it's kind of silly, like you probably heard the one about the prominent scientist at the time was saying that mankind will never travel faster than, I think it was 60 miles an hour or something, because all the air would be sucked out of the conveyance and the occupants would suffocate. And this was a guy that was, one of the premier scientists of the day. So there's been a number of things where their words were later found to be extraordinarily wrong.
The part of that I find fascinating is that with your contact, and you have described the male and the female figures, and they looked a lot like us. There has to be an element of that because of science, right? Atoms are atoms, acids are acids, particles are particles. We're all made of the same stuff, right? We all come from stars. Gravity would make us taller or shorter or what have you. But at the end of the day, we're a pretty perfect design. I'm talking about Homo sapiens. So why wouldn't ET look the same, and why wouldn't they have the same basic principles about life that we have? Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. That most of the beings that are reported are humanoid. A lot of people think humanoid means they look like humans, but no. Humanoid means 2 arms, 2 legs, a head on top. It's throughout nature, through all of the animal kingdom, 4 appendages is pretty much the standard layout, the standard design. And naturally, 2 of them are used to move around, and the other 2 are used to manipulate the environment. Had those other 2 appendages become flippers or feathers, the technological stuff would have never happened. So just the design predicts. There was a saying, I wish I could think of it right now, but basically the design of these bodies on us and the aliens is sort of destiny in terms of what's going to happen with the principal means of survival. And with us and the aliens, in spite of how savage humans are, that intelligence is the primary tool for dealing with for survival, dealing with the environment. And any other techniques, flippers and fins and feathers and all that sort of stuff, puts a sort of a limit on the value of intelligence in terms of survival. So it sort of set us on a course that, a parallel course with these beings, even though they came about on other planetary bodies.
Now, I asked you, this is many years ago, you probably don't remember this, but I asked you a question about the female alien, and I asked you if she wore makeup, right? And in a way I was making light of it, but I'm not sure that you were ever asked that question before. And was there a reason why she felt female to you? Maybe she wore makeup, But beyond that, did they look alien to you? Because we hear about Nordics and we hear about these hybrid that they're close and they could almost pass for us. Did they look alien to you, or could you walk past them on the street and they could have they could have run around undetected?
Yeah, both. To me, there was something strange, something odd, especially about the eyes. There was a strangeness that at the same time they would pass on Earth in a crowd. But I'm thinking that was probably by design, that they were either summoned because they were a species that was similar enough to humans that I would trust them enough to stop being so combative.
Mm-hmm.
Or it was some sort of spontaneous creation that they came up with just to get me to stop fighting them so that they could complete the repairs that saved my life. So,
yeah, that's interesting. Isaac Arthur, the physicist, said on this show, and it was so brilliant. Travis, he said, look, they have been observing us for a very long time. And if they're going to make the trip here, they know all about us. And the one thing that they're not going to do is present themselves in their true form, because we would lose our minds. So we would probably see an android, right? Some perfectly but that looks like us, so we don't freak out. That made a lot of sense to me. It's what you're saying now.
Yeah, it does make sense to me. With the idea that I was totally combative, I was not going to cooperate. There was no way I was going to get out of that ship and get to a situation where medical rescue could be affected. And if it hadn't have been for the intervention of beings that I would trust as not being, quote, invading monsters, unquote. So whether it was something they summoned or gathered that already existed, or something that they created, or some people even speculate that they had actually created an illusion. But I don't favor that theory so much, because the whole reason they weren't using mind control to just calm me down or put me asleep or whatever was because the energy in that beam just scrambled my thinking so much that it wasn't working.
Yeah, I can only imagine. No, I couldn't actually. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Travis Walton. As promised, tonight, Travis and I talk about everything. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Why is it we're not very good with our health regimen until it's too late? We don't put oil in the car until the engine blows up. When the body's out of balance, your health is not so good. Give your body some love. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. A clean colon is one of the ways to bring the body in balance. We also carry organic supplements to help you get where you need to go. So do your body a favor. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. You can even visit our sales page to save some dough. Does anybody call money dough anymore? Anyway, if you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. So, log on to GetTheT.com, shop, get balanced, then learn some cool tips at Health Matters Now. You'll be glad you did. That's GetTheT.com.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from Rivermoon. Just click on the Rivermoon Coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRAradio.com.
When you're in the house for longer periods of time, you can see them flying or running across the floor. Ooh, yuck. They're unhealthy, gross, and disgusting. Bugs. I loathe bugs. We keep a clean home, but occasionally bugs show up. Well, I found something that is tougher than bugs. Orange Guard. On contact, it kills hidden bugs, including ants, roaches, and fleas. Plus, Orange Guard is a residual repellent. All of the ingredients of Orange Guard are on the FDA generally recognized as safe list. Orange Guard may be used around food, humans, and pets. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Orange Guard, available at orangeguard.com, Whole Foods, and Ace Hardware.
Gold loves chaos, uncertainty, and disarray. History shows us what gold does when people aren't sure about the government, the stock market, their jobs, or their retirement savings. Our national debt is skyrocketing. Gold and other precious metals are a defense measure against inflation and a stock market that might take years to recover. So what can you do right now to protect yourself? Call United Gold Group. We offer gold and other precious metals delivered securely within 72 hours. Are you worried about the stock market? We can also help you set up a real gold or silver IRA or a 401k. Safe and secure. United Gold Group makes gold ownership affordable. Call now and get up to $2,500 in free gold or silver with a qualified IRA. Call 800-753-8534. That's 800-753-8534 or visit unitedgoldgroup.com.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Travis Walton. What a great conversation so far. Tomorrow night, filmmaker, documentarian Darcy Weir joins us. And Wednesday night, Johnny Enoch. Thursday night is Fader night with open lines all night long. But tonight, Travis joins us. And as promised, we are talking about everything. Travis, we haven't left anything off of the table except one. And it's this, going back to something like, the Fermi paradox, we've got all these star systems and planets and there must be life out there, but where are they? Putting that aside, we just had our first interstellar object come through our star system, Oumuamua. And we face the question all the time, why aren't we seeing these starships go between planets? Why aren't we observing ET? Well, Oumuamua shows up, an interstellar object, and we didn't detect it until it was leaving, right? We didn't see it coming. We didn't know how to react, and we started collecting data after it was too late, right? Do you think Oumuamua was something that wasn't natural?
Well, it was certainly atypical in every sense. The shape and the trajectory and the speed, all that is fascinating, and it's amazing that we didn't spot it sooner, or at least that's what they're telling us anyway.
Well, and we could have taken pictures, right? You know, and it by the time that the data started coming in, it was like 80 million miles past Earth and picking up speed, right? and quickly left. So maybe they did get images, but like you said, we don't know that now. Avi Loeb, the physicist, has just released an extraordinary book called Extraterrestrial. I'm now through my 10th read on this book. And all he is doing is looking at the data. He's saying, look, the data says this is not natural. It's not a rock. It's not anything. It has to be something else. And that's how we should look at any of this, right?
Yeah, and definitely it's fascinating. And these are keys to really important questions about ourself, our existence, and the whole thing. And people are slowly dawning on them that the idea of life elsewhere is not this remote thing that it's been represented to be. We knew about the Drake equation that was supposed to estimate the number of life-supporting planets in the galaxy, but they had to make a kind of a vague guess at how many of the stars would have planets. But since that came out, it was just this last year that NASA said it's now a virtual certainty that every star has about a dozen planets. And you'd say, well, how do they know that? You can't see them from here. But the way they do it is they very carefully measure the amount of light coming towards us, and if the dimming intervals occur at a specific uniform interval, it is indication that a planet passed between us and that star. And so on the basis of that new information, the Drake equation plugs in estimates of other planets in our galaxy far, far greater than anybody ever imagined. And, forgive me, the astronomical number of planets is so great that the odds of us being alone in terms of being a life-supporting planet are it's just absurd. It's basically a certainty that there are other life-supporting planets and plenty of time for them to come up with something similar to humans. But then on the other hand, you got to look at how brief human history on this planet is. Tens of thousands. And yet the dinosaurs dominated life on this planet for hundreds of millions of years. And probably anything that would have been intelligent would have been food pretty quick. The conditions were stable, but all we had was dinosaurs, and along come humans. So even with the life-supporting planets, we might be very special in terms of this thing called consciousness.
Yeah, and it's so funny if that asteroid or comet didn't hit Earth 65 million years ago and wipe the dinosaurs out, would we have come along? Number one, probably not, unless somebody brought us here, and that's always another consideration. But
yeah, that's a popular theory.
Do you think that dinosaurs today would be building radar telescopes and watching television? Right? I don't think, maybe.
No, I doubt it. I think the reason the aliens are humanoid in overall form is that that's what it takes to effectuate an intelligent being, to be able to walk around on the hind appendages and manipulate the environment with the other two. Now, I know there's all kinds of exotic theories about intelligent octopus,
Yep.
But I lean towards.
I've
had a lot of time to think about it.
Yeah. I want to hear your idea. Well, see, this is the thing. Octopi, very smart. No question. Probably smart. Could be as smart as us or smarter. There's one problem. They can't deal with fire. Now, think about that. Think about that for a second. That one thing, unless they can figure out how to light a match in the water, but that one thing stops development. Like if there could be life in the oceans of Europa, right? That's totally possible. Yeah. But they don't have fire. So where does manufacturing come from? Where do the next stages of evolution come from?
And everything follows from that. That's a crucial turning point in the development of human beings.
Do you now going back to Oumuamua for a second? For those out there that want to say it was just a rock, well, I have issues with that because it did. It took an intelligent turn around the sun, wasn't affected by the gravity of the sun, and then increased speed. If it was a comet, we would have seen something ejecting from it to cause that speed. None of that was detected. Yeah. None of that was seen. The speed happened on its own internally. The turn happened on its own without the gravity of the sun. In fact, it turned away from the sun and made its own turn. Doesn't that just negate any criticism about it being a rock or intelligent right there?
Well, if all those factors are true, then it's absolute certainty that this is not just a chunk of rock floating through there. You have to explain the patterns of motion, and that's what the naysayers do. Insist that it's something else because you can't prove a negative, and that's what they're relying on.
Is that also an explanation for our general lack of technology, that we can't detect everything? And if ET is running around out there, why should we be able to see it? We didn't see Oumuamua until it was too late, right?
Yeah, and that's a very important thing. I think that, it's got to be something, apparently, superior to Newtonian physics, portals or space warp or whatever, time dilation, whatever it is, it's not just, go as fast as you can from this star to the other star. We know that would be unimaginably long journey, but it's not impossible. If these beings could live for thousands of years, maybe that's something that's feasible for them.
Well, and like going back to your experience and who you were hanging out with for those 5 days, do you think that they were not spending 10,000 light years on that ship, right, to travel between the stars? That whatever they were doing with their ship was easy, right?
Yeah. And who can say what's impossible? Remember Stan Friedman's book, Science Was Wrong. What could be more presumptuous than to tell us that something's impossible? And it's really shameful that these scientists are telling us they can't get here.
No, it's the exact opposite. They can, and it's easy. You need to go to the store, Travis, to pick up some milk. You jump in your car and go and do it in your home in 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Well, 200 years ago, that's magic, right? That's magic.
Yeah.
And you do it today because it's you don't even think about it. It has to be the same way for ET. Now, and let me ask you this. Have you gone through a transition of, because I know that I have, where it's a nuts and bolts craft traveling in a straight line, and they're flying from point A to point B. I'm not there today. I used to be, and I wondered how they got it done. Today I'm thinking it's got to be some type of interdimensional, some type of way of folding space where the travel is instant. Have you gone through the same transition? Did you used to think it was a nuts and bolts?
Yeah, that's the way I was thinking. But obviously, the longer you think about the amount of time that they had to develop more and more understanding of the universe, I am not in the least inclined to say what's, quote, not possible.
And how so? How so?
Well, the limits of physics. Heck, I've done enough thinking about physics to, how dare me, the audacity, to question the validity of Newtonian physics and the E equal mc squared, and right up to the limits of physics. The galactic speed limit is what it comes down to. 186,000 miles per second is all the faster anything can go. But it implies something is impossible. If you were going at, say, half the speed of light, and you shined a light forward in the direction you were traveling, the light beam would just, fall to the floor? I mean, not even be, you couldn't even project it, because if it did, it would be going the speed of light plus 50% more.
Except for Einstein said that, I agree with you. I can't wrap my head around it, because Einstein says that the speed of light is absolute. So if you were at 99% of the speed of light, right, and you turn on your headlights, well, now your headlights would be 99.9% of the speed of light plus the speed of light, right?
Yeah.
And Einstein says, no, that's not the case. The speed of light is constant. So, no, your headlights would be 0.1% out in front of you and stop. Right? I just can't wrap my head around that. It just doesn't make sense.
The speed of that object that moved through our solar system, and the fact that it accelerated, and we're measuring its speed relative, there's that word, relative, to other objects in the solar system. So that's the whole key here. Relativity is basically denying that speed is relative, that it's absolute. And ultimately, when you get up to 186,000 miles per second, and what do I know? It just doesn't seem right to me. But apparently, they have other way around it.
And what do
shortcut of some kind.
Yeah, and I know you thought about that a lot. What do you think it is? How do you think they're getting from star to star?
Well, people will say there's portals, there's space warp, and time dilation, and there's even phenomena that have been found, discovered, concerning the behavior of physics at speeds near the speed of light. And, this is getting really far out there, and it's presumptuous of me to think that there might be around. But what if Einstein was mistaken? I mean, just the givens that he was going with were the accepted givens at the time, but perhaps there's something that wasn't being taken into consideration there.
I think when I talk about it being easy, it has to be something that doesn't take a lot of energy, and something that involves removing the distance. You're not traveling the distance, you're cutting the distance out. And I don't know what that process would be. I don't, but it has to be something that simple. And they've got it figured out. But the distance is not a consideration. And it has to, and I'll tell you a couple of reasons why I think that. It's not only traveling, it's also communication. You're not communicating at the speed of light with radio waves, right? That just wouldn't work. If you and I, Travis, jumped on a starship and you and I went out to Proxima Centauri, it's 4.5 light years away. But if you and I get there and we've got engine problems and we got to phone home, traveling at the speed of light, it's going to take 4.5 years before they get our 911 call. It doesn't work that way, right? You have to be able to communicate too, as well as travel these distances.
Whatever it is, they've done it because I am absolutely certain that they are here and that they are not from here, that this is an alien presence. Now, maybe they've got one heck of a lot of patience, that's all.
Yeah. Totally. And I don't, there's always the possibility that they are us and they're time travelers from the future, and anything is possible, and you can put that out there. But there's another part, and I want to end our conversation with this. There are so many people out there, Daryl Anka and Bashar are one, that are channeling or communicating with something. And not that all of it is real, but some of it is. And that communication is coming from another star system at great distances in real time, right?
And may not even involve something in the electromagnetic spectrum. In other words, 186,000 miles per second. If there's some other form of energy communicating this information, it may not take that long.
No, it could be instant. And, we've talked about physics so many times tonight. And when we talk about entanglement, just right there, and how much did Einstein freak out on that, right? Spooky action at a distance. But if you have two particles on the opposite sides of the Milky Way instantly affecting each other, when the Milky Way is 150,000 light years across, but yet the interaction is instant, what does that tell you? That's faster than that's not the speed of light. That's the speed of now.
Yeah. So there's already a direct link that involves no transit time.
I'm cool with it.
We just don't know how to do it. That's it. Not yet, anyway.
What's next for you this year? What are you doing?
Oh, I've got one coming up in Pittsburgh. I'm going to be at Roswell in July. I'm going to Brazil. A few of those. This was set to be the most busy, most booked year of my life, and then the pandemic came along, and they postponed so many events. There were a lot of countries I'd never even been to. So.
Oh man, we lost Travis. Travis, are you there?
Hello?
Yeah, you dropped out. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Wow, that was crazy. Okay. That was crazy.
What happened?
Yeah, you said this was supposed to be the busiest year of your life, but the pandemic came, and then you dropped out.
And then I said, well, they're slowly rebooking these postponed events, and it's picking up again.
Now, where can everybody go and check on your schedule? I know you have TravisWalton.com. Where can everybody?
That's it. I'd like to invite everybody to see the Travis video. I didn't name it. That's what the filmmaker named it, Travis. I think that's a 90-minute documentary that it can be ordered online on Wings, and I think she's heck, you can even order it from my website. But that's an exceptional one, along with another one called Paranormal Witness. That was normally a 1-hour show that they did a 90-minute special on.
And one last question, if it's okay to go here. I know how Hollywood can be, but are we ever going to see your version of Fire in the Sky?
Yes, things that were heating up in that. I've had inquiries. They came to me, and I think it's about time that we're ready for a remake. And I want people to understand that a remake is not doing the same thing over again. It's to bring out some things that weren't even included at the time. It's to correct some things that gave the wrong impression, and just more complete and better. I've had a number of offers over the years because I've given hundreds of talks that I've mentioned the desire for a remake, but 3 or 4 or 5 different filmmakers said I can do that, but I didn't think that they were serious about making something that will be better than the first, and that's a tall order. It won't be cheap.
So you're saying, Jimmy, keep your fingers crossed. It looks good.
I think so, yeah. We're working on it.
Man, that's great news, Travis. That is great news. Well, I look forward to somehow seeing you this year. It's been a year and a half. It's crazy. And so I look forward to breaking bread with you once again, my friend. Thank you so much. Great show tonight.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me.
Travis Walton. Thank you so much, Travis. I am your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. I'm going to take a quick break, and I will return. Stay with us.
Here, and you are listening to my boy Jimmy Church on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
This is Billy Carson with ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Forbidden Knowledge TV has just reached its 1-year anniversary. That's right, 1 year. And as a show of appreciation, we are giving all new subscribers a free 30-day trial of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's 30 days to binge watch thousands of movies, documentaries, conferences, workshops, lectures, yoga classes, meditation courses, and so much more. So log on to forbiddenknowledge.tv from your computer or mobile device, or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, iTunes, or Google Play today, and use coupon code 30 days free. That's coupon code 30 days free on forbiddenknowledge.tv today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Whoo, man. That was a conversation right there. Travis Walton, thank you so much, my friend. That was epic on every level, and I was just looking forward to it. I knew that the conversation had to fall back to 1975 at some point, but to hear from Travis on all of these different subjects and topics when it comes to ufology, coming from somebody that has been through one of the most extraordinary experiences ever, so highly publicized in the witnesses and everything else that goes along with Travis, but you know that he thinks about this stuff and he studies it and he knows what's up. And to have Travis speak about physics and science and the government and the military and different theories, you know that he's been thinking about this and wondering about it. And one of the most, I've opened up the phone lines, 747-228-2051. 747-228-2051. I do want to hear from you. What did you think about not only the show tonight and the conversation, but Travis's opinions on this? Now, he did say to me, and he said it at the beginning of the show, but he said that to me a couple of times this week. He said, these are going to be my opinions. Nothing more. They're going to just be my opinions. And so that's what we got tonight. And he said, Jimmy, I can't speak as fact on just about any of this, but I've been thinking about it a lot, and I don't get a chance to have these conversations. So that's what we got tonight with Travis, and it was just amazing to go into Oumuamua with Travis Walton. I mean, how cool is that? Right there, out of the gate, and he obviously knows not only what Oumuamua was, but the facts behind it. He understands it so much. Okay, 747-228-2051. The conversations about the speed of light coming from Travis Walton, that's just amazing to me. Let's go to the phones. Let's see who's up first. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, Jimmy, this is Nathan in Ohio.
Hey, Nathan, how are you, man?
I'm doing pretty good. It was a good show tonight, Jimmy. I knew it would be. I saw you I saw it was scheduled, so I purposely stayed up late so I could hear it. And he's an important person to me because I know he's not fond of the film, but it was, when I was a kid, it was that film that kind of showed me what was going on in my own life and kind of put a name to a face.
How so?
Well, just the experience that is depicted in that film, very much the being on a table, having the beings over you. I had been in that situation, but you have to remember, I was born in 1984, so when Fire in the Sky came out, I wasn't even in middle school yet. And so to see that film and see this thing that had happened to me on a number of occasions already by that point, I've followed his career off, and he's the only person who I knew by name who I could reference. He's the most famous case, period. And it was interesting to hear you discuss this with him on a more philosophical level.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's always that part of it. And the going back to your comment about Fire in the Sky, I don't think that Travis ever really, how do I say this? I don't think that Travis ever minced words when he talked about his disappointment with Fire in the Sky. The other part was that I think, and I don't want to put words in Travis's mouth, but I think that his experience and what Hollywood ended up doing with the film was certainly in the sequences towards the end with him on the ship were intended to be more like a horror film with horror scenes that were there to cause fear and terror in everybody, and they Hollywoodized the film. And that part, that wasn't his experience. Now, parts of it were, and he was scared and he was terrified. But I don't think overall that was his experience. Now, what he would do to change all of that, I don't know. I don't know what Travis's, I wasn't there. I've certainly discussed it enough with him on this show and otherwise to know that he was not happy with those sequences in the film. And those sequences scared the crap out of me. I mean, personally, and still to this day, I ended up getting Fire in the Sky on DVD and went back and watched it. And I forgot how much Hollywood tried to push the horror element of Fire in the Sky in the film. I think that the rest of the film, in a general sense, was pretty accurate. There was the love thing, and that. But I think that overall, with the crew and how historically how all of that was dealt with was pretty accurate. But I think that Travis wants his opportunity to tell the story his way and to get it out there that was his experience from his memory. And I certainly hope that he gets the film done. So with that, Nathan, I want you to have a great night, behave and be well, and we'll see you tomorrow night right here.
All right, go back to Teppy, Jimmy.
Yeah, right at you, Nathan. Thank you so much. And I mean that when Travis says, I think finally this thing's going to happen, and I've got the right film company, and I've got people speaking to me the way that I need to hear it is pretty good. Travis is super smart. I have been able to, and if you ever get a chance, go up to Travis, introduce yourself. He's open to saying hello and meeting everybody, but just sit down and have a conversation with Travis, the person. It's incredible because you will find very quickly that he is grounded. His feet are truly on the ground, and he is smart. He's a smart guy, and he loves his family. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
This is Gabriel.
Hey, oh, my man. My man. How you doing?
I'm good, Jimmy. How are you?
Man, I haven't talked to you in probably 2 years.
I know, it's been a while.
You know what's funny? I kind of felt that you would be calling in tonight. I'm just letting you know. I got a vibe on that, and I'm glad that you did. But what's really funny is how much we have hung out over the years and done things, and I haven't talked to you in such a long time. But it's great to hear your voice.
That's how friends are. That's how friends are, right? You pick up the torch right where you left off.
Yeah, it seems like it right now. For sure. You know who's... Wait a minute. I'm looking. Guess who just posted in Twitter?
Who?
Chuck from Hong Kong.
No way.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right here. When Travis came to Hong Kong to do his lecture, he mentioned he thinks he was killed and the aliens brought him back to life. Yep, that's right. And the ship to bring him back to life. Chuck from Hong Kong. How you doing, my man? You know, when Chuck came up to me, he goes, I'm a big fan of Fade to Black. This is like 5 years ago. And I said, really? And he goes, okay, I'll prove it to you. He goes, let me jump in right here. And I just died. Chuck, it's so good to see you posting on Twitter. Okay, now, Gabriel, what'd you think of the conversation tonight?
Oh man, like you said, Travis he's phenomenal as a person, and everything he does is so calculated, and that he's speaking from like you were saying, it's wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And whenever he speaks, you're just like it's like your favorite author reading a book to you of his writing. It's like you just can't get enough. You want to hear more and more from him. And I think he breaks open new thought processes that maybe you were thinking of already, but didn't have, the gumption to go forward with. And then he helps you to finalize those thoughts. It's like all your guests do. They make you smarter. That's how they make you smarter. They get you thinking on those paths of understanding that you never grasped before. And I really like that Travis is coming back to the forefront, because I felt like he kind of got pushed off to the back a little bit. Because he's to me he's the ultimate friend, because he's been there. He's the experiencer, and nobody can take that away from Travis. They have to admit it, and I think that makes Travis a little bit more shiny to the community. It makes him a pillar that we can never get away from. No, I loved hearing every minute of it.
Yeah. You're right about that. And how many times have you sat in the audience when we did Fade to Black Live, and Travis comes out? He's one of our guests. He can't wait to get on the show. He's hanging out with the Fadernauts, and he comes out, and you are able to look at Travis, straight into his eyes during one of those interviews, and realize how honest he is as a person.
That's right. It's so true. You can feel it. You can almost, it's not even a visual thing. It's a feel thing. And for those of us faders who are all about the feels, that's where a lot of our intuition and the way we're going to trust a person comes from. You can feel it from Travis. And, I got to shake the man's hand, being there at those live shows. And that's an honor, because you can feel his genuineness. And you can take his words at face value, and you don't have to worry or wonder if maybe he's shining you on or taking you for a ride. No, Travis is the legit 100% real deal. I love that about him.
You know how legit he is? Oh, check it out. Sherry just posted, my babe on the call line tonight. Oh, man, I miss her so much, man. She's the coolest of the cool. You're a lucky man. Let me tell you how legit Travis is. And this is a long time ago, and we're hanging out, and he comes up and he goes, Jimmy, we're going to go to Sonic and get burgers and shakes. Are you down? And I'm like, man, Travis, Sonic with you right now? Let's go. And I sat there and had burgers and fries and shakes and played guitar with Travis. And I'm thinking, man, you are the most down-to-earth. I don't even want to know the trauma that you have gone through and endured, not only from the experience, but it's what he put up with, with Philip Glass and the ridicule and the pain and the attackers and everything else that he had. Now, of course, he had his supporters, but he dealt with a life of crap, and for him to come out on the other side and be who he is today, I think that says everything about Travis Walton. I am not kidding about that.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. I agree.
Sonic, man. Sonic. Broke bread,
man. You got me going now.
I'm telling you what. So how you doing? How's the family? How did you guys, I haven't talked to you in forever. How did you guys deal with 2020?
Unfortunately, I lost my father, so that one was a hard hit. Which was like, that was a low blow for 2020 right there. So, I mean, it wasn't unexpected because he was in failing health because he had COPD emphysema real bad. But even at the end, he was like, I had a good life. I did everything I wanted to do. I feel good about this. I'm not sad about this. I got to live my life how I wanted to. So that kind of made it all better, So while it's hard, he's in a happier place and he gets to communicate with me from the beyond, because that's what we made that pact. It was like, you're going to communicate with me somehow from the other side because we got to know what's going on over there. We always talked about it. We got to know.
Now, you and I used to just be able to sit around all night long and talk UFOs and things, but you and I haven't had a chance to do that in a couple of years. So let me ask you this, Gabriel. Compared to what you and I talked about 4 years ago in the days of disclosure, does it feel different today? Are we getting closer to disclosure?
I think, my personal opinion on that one is it's kind of like we are closer, but I think what they're trying to do to us, in my view, is they want us to slowly creep into it because they know that the majority, the faders could handle it. We could hear the truth tomorrow and we'd still go to work and do our thing. That'd be like, oh yeah, that's what we knew. But the people, the regular folks, okay, just the Joe Schmoes, all right, they can't handle the abrupt truth of what is real, and the things like that Travis brings to the table, and all of our other guests that bring to the table, that there is more out there. But I think that they're trying to ease it in slowly because look at how bad a pandemic really tore into people. I mean, just the idea of this pandemic really, really threw people for a tailspin. And a lot of people lost their cookies pretty bad. A lot of people didn't. A lot of people were like, just take it as it comes. But, it showed how the general population is kind of prone to freak out real bad. And I think that while I want to say that I think that they could take it, they probably can't. And we should just slowly ease them into disclosure so that they don't end up crying on the floor in a fetal position because they don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
so,
totally.
I mean,
What do you expect with this UAP task force report for the Senate? Do you have your hopes up?
I mean, it's like last time we had stuff go to the Senate. It gets washed over and too overworded, and it makes it for like it makes it a political thing rather than an information based thing. So I hope that it comes out as like a true information based thing and not just a politician trying to use it to gain favor some way. That's my only worry, because that's what they do. They use what they have to gain more. So I just hope that maybe we get lucky this time and win out, because we're waiting patiently. I think a lot of us are waiting patiently instead of beating down doors like we were, like I was. Me personally, 2 years ago, I was beating down the knowledge door, trying to find out what I could, how I could, why I could, every piece of knowledge I could find. And now I'm kind of slowed down because I'm being more observant and keeping that close watched eye on who's doing what and what's going on where, because we've been had the wool pulled over our eyes a couple times, and it hurts, because we are prone to this understanding that we really want. But, sometimes we just have to keep waiting, I guess. That's all I can think of.
Yeah, there's a certain part of me that says, if we think that this report is going to say UFOs are real, ET is here, right? That's going to be in this report. Nah, I don't see that happening. I don't.
No, me neither.
It's not going to happen that way. I just don't feel it. I know that so many have high hopes, man. They're betting the farm on this. I don't see it coming in this form. I really don't. Now, then there's the other part. It's like when you go to Vegas and you make the wrong bets. You're always wrong. You make the wrong job. I should have taken that job. I didn't take it. But I shouldn't have bought that car. Shouldn't have done it. I could have bought the other one. I bought this one. And life is like that, right? So in this case, where I'm expecting no mention of UFO, ET is real. And then all of a sudden it does come out. It's like you can never win. You always make the opposite choice. So I'm going to stick with that. There's not going to be anything in this report, and maybe I'll be wrong once again. That's all I'm saying, Gabriel. That's all I'm saying.
You'll be pleasantly surprised,
right? And I'll be the first one to eat crow.
That's right. And that's fine. I'll take that any day of the week rather than getting my hopes up,
Give my best to Sherry, my man. Thank you so much. And don't take 2 years next time.
All right, brother. Love you much.
I love you much too, Gabriel. Thank you so much, Gabriel, man. I can't believe he just called in. One of the coolest dudes in the history of everything right there. And Jimmy, we are going to Vegas at the end of the month. Stay positive with it, please. That's what I'm talking about, Sherry. All right, looking forward to it. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Thank you so much.
Oh.
All right, don't take 2 years next time.
Okay, you got to turn me down in the background.
I love you much too.
Okay, you got to turn me down. Okay, can you turn me down? Oh, jeez.
Oh, yes, I can.
Okay. Jeez. Okay.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. Who's this?
This is Trevor from Scranton.
This is Trevor. How you doing, Trevor?
Not bad, Jimmy. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I just had Travis Walton on for 2.5 hours. It was a perfect night.
And I'm so upset because I just was catching the end of your show. And, his story is truly phenomenal. I'm sad I missed it. Right when I heard his name, though, I said, I got to call in.
Well, you've got to go back and listen to the show. It was an extraordinary conversation. And, this is the thing, Trevor. I told everybody that we would be talking about anything but Heber right? We're going to talk about anything but 1975. There's too many things that we needed to discuss because Travis's thoughts and opinions on these subjects need to be heard. And that's exactly what happened tonight. It was great.
Fantastic. He's just a remarkable man with a remarkable story. And I think that, Hollywood portrayed it in a way that he didn't appreciate, in my opinion. I don't know that for a fact. But when you read the book and you listen to him speak, the events that he claims happened are better than what the movie portrayed. It's truly remarkable.
Well, he has said many times the movie was out of his hands.
Right.
And just like anything else, once Hollywood, television, movie, whatever, once they get a hold of it, you're at their mercy. You don't have any control. There's not. He could have jumped up and down and pounded his fist and yelled and screamed, but it wouldn't have changed anything. And that's the way Hollywood is. So you just have to, cross your fingers, hope for the best,
Sure.
and see what the end results were. And it turned out, that there were parts of the film that Travis didn't agree with, and only he was there, and only he knows.
Right. Absolutely. I think they count his fear, maybe, and the way that his friends were treated was, pretty accurate as far as the polygraphs and how they were going to charge him with possibly murder and all that. So I think in that way it was filmed okay, and I think overall it was a good Hollywood movie, but I think a lot of people don't know the real story, and they look at that like it was this big evil abduction, and I believe he thinks that now that they helped him.
Yeah, I don't think that, you're right about that. I don't think that I think, how do I say this? I think looking back, he knows now that he shouldn't have had fear and he shouldn't have been as scared as he was. But look, how could any of us know? Right?
There's no way.
There's no way.
Right.
And there isn't.
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
Absolutely.
Hindsight, looking back, actually it was a pretty good experience. Well, it probably was. But at the time, right. Travis, no. Everything that you went through was justified. And I don't know what my see, the thing is it's not like they stepped off of the craft and they came up to him and said, "Hey, you want to take a ride?" That's not what happened.
Right.
He got shocked. Something happened to him. He got blasted back. He was in very bad shape. They realized it, picked him up, and fixed him. And so everything was based off of that. It wasn't like they were like, man, we got pizza, we got beer, we got a big screen TV. Right. Come on and let's have a conversation. It wasn't an invitation. So yeah, it was based on the trauma that he was going through, and I can only imagine. Sure. He said many times, man, I was combative. I was not happy. Yeah. I was ready to kick butt. So there you go.
I couldn't imagine.
Hey, Trevor, enjoy the rest of your night, man. Thank you for the phone call.
Jimmy, have a good night, man. Thank you.
It's time to fade to black. Thank you so much, Trevor. What a great night tonight. I want to thank Travis Walton. It was a perfect conversation. It was a perfect night. Thank you so much, Travis. Everybody can go to Travis's website. It is traviswalton.com. The links are over at jimmychurchradio.com. Fade to Black's executive producers, Rita Camurion. Shows produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Kevin. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy. SpaceboyMusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This is broadcast owned and copyrighted 2021 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night, filmmaker, documentarian, Darcy Weir, right here. Until then, everybody be safe. Fade to Black.